Hello and most welcome to 1567 of the series. We continue with the marvelous scripture of Heidegger Dimon, the use of the hands in teaching. And we're now into table works, simple contacts. Contacts. Let's see, just adjust it.
Yes, a little bit back. Yes, yeah, perfect.
Thank you, Kalle. Working on a student on the table has many obvious advantages. To begin with, just being on the table is beneficial to most people, provided they don't get heavy and relaxed, since it gives them a chance to stop holding, to quiet down, and to stop in general. It is also a very safe position, since there is little danger of or fear of falling, and therefore no need to maintain habitual holdings. Obviously, when we speak of table work, we usually have our student in the semi-supine position, which has many advantages. Because the student's head is supported by books, this prevents him from pulling his head back so that he can begin to let go in the neck muscles. Because the back is entirely supported, the extensor muscles running the length of the back from the occiput to sacrum, the sacrospinalis muscles, can let go. With the knees bent and pointing to the ceiling, the student can direct his knees and begin to let go in the hips and thighs. And as these muscles release, the shoulders can widen and the back can fill out. For all these reasons, the teacher has very little to worry about when working with a student on the table. In most cases, the student will not stiffen up or get heavy as they will in a chair. and because the semi-supine position provides so much support, the student can take care of himself so that you, the teacher, do not have to give a lot of instruction or guidance. This, of course, makes table work ideal for the teacher, who can therefore take time to focus on himself or herself. This is also why, in the beginning, stages of learning to put our hands on. We so often begin with students on the table. The teacher does not have to worry about the student, and the student makes a kind of surface on which we can place our hands without having to lift weight or do very much. There are two ways to make contact with someone on the table that are very basic and keep the focus entirely on the quality of your own direction and away from having to do anything to the student. The simplest way is to place your hands palms down on the student, using your hands like feet, as in chapter 3, except that the student now becomes the table surface. The teacher goes into monkey, places his hands on his student, and goes through his directions.
Man håller den i liksom en evighet här. Och sen skriver man A32. Då får man en tick.
Okej. Eller så skriver man A4, 2.
This becomes the basic paradigm for more complex procedures, including taking the student's head, lifting an arm, or taking out a leg, which are in this sense variations of using the hands like feet.
Den bara kastar ifrån sig
Men det står något väldigt häftigt, alltså en reservation.
The second is to make contact at 2 points and to ask the student to thinking of lengthening between the 2 points. This can be done with fingertips or in some cases with the palms. Either way, there is nothing to do except to go into monkey, make contact, and give your directions. Both of these techniques gives you, the teacher, the chance to do nothing except direct and free you from having to work on the student. For trainees who are just beginning to put hands on fellow students without supervision, these procedures are a perfect starting point for placing hands on a student without having to worry about moving them or lifting weight. I go through the monkey procedure here. For the forearm, pull to widen the upper parts of the arm, the back side. Again, go into monkey and give your primary directions for your neck to release, your head to go away from your pelvis, and your pelvis away from your head to get length along the back. For your knees to go away from your hips and heels. Two, thinking of lengthening your fingers and thumbs. Raise your arms from your elbows and place your hands, palms facing up, on the rail of the chair. Rotate your hands so that they face palms down. Bend your fingers at the knuckles, leaving your wrists free. Drop your thumbs to grasp the rail of the chair between extended fingers and thumb of each hand. Your wrist should gently curve inward. And your elbows should point outwards and downwards. Repeat the main directions for neck, head, back, and knees. At this point, your trunk should be somewhat supported by your arms. because by grasping the rail of the chair, you are bearing some weight through the contact of your arms. With the chair. Which means you are in a modified four-footed position in which the hands and arms are capable of supporting the trunk. Continuing to think of your primary directions. Think of lengthening your fingers, wrists going in, elbows going down and out. Down and out. Repeat your primary directions and checking that you do not alter your arm and hand position in any way. Think of a gentle forearm pulled to the elbows, which will bring about a widening of the upper parts of the arms. Do not try to do this direction, which will only lower the torso. Simply think of the elbows going outwards and slightly downwards and see what happens. When this works properly, the widening of the arms does not lower the body, but actually supports it. And I think that's a decisive point here. Everything we do when it comes to expanding supports the body, makes it stronger. All widening is good for the support and balance. As you get more widening in the back, you may feel that you can build up this widening until you can start to actually pull the rail on the chair apart. When trying this, be sure not to lose the position of the hands and fingers. That is, continue to think of the wrists going in and the fingers remaining straight from the knuckles and pointing directly downwards. Take your hands off the rail of the chair and come out of monkey. You should be able to grasp the rail of the chair without gripping in the fingers or thumbs. If you find that you are gripping too much, spend more time studying the hand and arm position, as discussed in the last chapter. You want to be able to oppose fingers and thumb without using too much tension in the forearm muscles, in the fingers and thumbs, and in the inner arms. If necessary, continue to explore the use of your thumb and fingers in an experimental way, apart from performing the larger procedure. Two, when you think of pulling to the forearms, your wrists must stay in and your fingers straight and pointing down. If your wrists begin to fall outward, this means you are losing the directions and should stop and start over from the beginning. It helps if you observe your hand position so that when you think of pulling to the forearms, it does not change, and the position of the fingers and wrists opposes the pull to the elbows. You also do not want to raise your elbows as you pull to the forearms, or pull your elbows into your sides, which indicates that you are narrowing or stiffening your arms. So widening in all directions, up and out. Essential to the entire procedure is the proper engagement of the extensors of the back and the support of the arms coming from the back, shoulder blades, the whole part of the back. Because the use of the flexors in humans is associated with a pattern of misuse, including pulling down in front, across the chests, in the biceps, forearms, and hands. The arms no longer work in a coordinated way with the trunk. There's no connection anymore. When you are getting proper extensor support, that is, when you are maintaining the head-neck balance, head-neck-back relationship, and the support for the arms comes from a lengthening and widening back. It is perfectly possible to grasp with the hands without any narrowing in the arms or across the chest Even more significantly, the act of pulling to the forearms brings about a beneficial widening and elasticity in the thorax and shoulders. The ability to bring about these changes while engaging the grasping function of the hands means that you will be able to use the hands in teaching in whatever way is needed, while still communicating a positive stimulus to your student. We're rolling again. Now we're going to make a demonstration using the leaflet. And there's already a widening here going on. Not long ago he was guinea pig here, Kalle, with your permission, he was constantly holding himself. This adding, or this is also very common among people in general, not you, but it's a way of holding yourself. This is also another solution. And that means that we are out of extension and the flexors are active. And we get used to this grouping and structure of tension, and it becomes our habitual self, becomes us. What the monkey is doing is slowly releasing into expansion over the chest, over the back, over the whole column, and a lengthening procedure. You come closer, I'll show you here. Lengthening that goes in both directions, down and up at the same time. So this is what we want to have in view. Let's go check that you are. Yes, it looks good. This is the 5th time we try this out, and Kalle is leaving for maybe some not so constructive sitting in front of a computer. We'll see to that will keep some of his good shape, and maybe even with some practice of the monkey. And I can already see here that it is more neatly balanced already. This is just incredible. Do you feel? This is a huge difference. The body is learning where the atlanto-occipital joint is sitting.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Still, for instance, in the church, I don't know how to bow because I'm still unsure where is my hip, where goes the exact border between hip and back. I think I'm not the only one with this problem.
No.
And so how should I bow? Really?
There is no correct answers. It would be...
We want a correct answer.
No. As you train, you will feel the hip joint more and more. So it's a progression. There is no absolute here, because you need to know where the hip is in your body, and that takes training. So there is no correct procedure in that way in the Alexander technique. Obviously, don't confuse this. Bending here is of course wrong. That will harm you, but that doesn't mean that there is a correct way. Correctness is better. It's adding more and more correctness for every time you do the monkey, and as you do now, you will understand in a couple of months where to bend your hip. If you were to do it now, it could be wrong. But I will try to show you where the hip is. This is exactly what we're doing in the monkey. there, you're more sensitive there now. So you are developing sensitivity in an area. This is called the nape of the neck. I'm pointing out here, as you can't see. People watching. And that training that you've done makes this so much easier. This is very soft. Softness is extraordinary. If I didn't know that you tried this 4 times before, I would imagine that you took muscle relaxants. But it's much more balanced. Now, look at that. So it's starting in the hip joint too. Because when I move you now, the whole torso, this area, follows. Before it was going in different directions. And to this I want you to add the little triplet. Imagining that a small drop of water is slowly going over the ridge of the nose. Yes. But don't make the drip too big, very important. And for every time you train this, the drip is going to be doing more of its effect. See that? Just let me hold the arm without doing anything. This didn't go so well the first episode, for obvious reasons. Tensions coming to the arm, and if I drop it, yes, if I drop it now, it falls. So imagine the direction going down in the yes. Now it moves, and more this part is coming into action. You're not using only that one, but also the shoulder. And as I can see, your chest is coming into the action. We have mentioned this before. In context with Barbara Conable, that once we learn the proper ways of the body, it will start to work. Slowly, the understanding needs to be practiced. And now add to this lengthening here, and lengthening both directions. One going down and one going up. That's a really nice widening here over there. So they can go in those directions. Yes, fantastic. In front of the eyes, this is happening. So think of the knees with the direction forwards in that direction. See if I can flex them a bit. Yes. So here you have the hip joint. Here, flex a bit, yes. So in the monkey, we are flexing exactly in the hip joint here. And now you are putting your head forward together with the back. So it comes like one thing. Previously, and what we have all else are doing is moving the head separately and this part separately, looking like this. Now there is a connectivity between the head, neck and back all the way down to the hip. And this is how you use the hip. It's a joint that bends the body in 2 pieces, not 4 or 3. Not here, here and here, only there. And you will learn more and more, because what is happening, since the sensitivity is starting here, you will feel more of your body, and in the end you will know more and more how to use it. This is how it works. Yes, very good. Continue to think directions from the knees, going in that direction. And we will add a direction here in just the left arm here, going down and going out, because we want to have more widening here. That will let the hand come into action. And today we will take the railing and think of a direction, so the finger going down, fingers going down, like that exactly. That will widen here. Just let me take the arm. Feel a direction going out to the fingers, forward, directed, and we direct that down, like that, and they go down. Add this with the direction here from the elbow, and also out this direction. So you can also add some depictions here. I think it would be helpful actually. So you see here, that's the widening. Yeah, I can see clearly. We will now rotate the hands into the rail of the chair. With permission, we rotate them, yes. So think of a rotation going that way, not yet. Let's see. Oh, this will encourage widening even more, and I check, yes, no tension build up here. So it's for every time we train it, it's less and less of tension here. Less of tension means more awareness in this very, very important region. The primary control, as Alexander called it. Think of a rotating action. This will learn you the spiral in the arm. Going this way, so think about that rotating. This way and round. I'll show in front of your eyes, like this way. That, now you feel the rotation of the arm. This you can add as a spiral going that way.
Yeah.
So now you have the both directions. This is the directionality of the arms. Continue to widen and lengthen. Lengthen also downwards. That means out of your hips. You can think the hips going downwards even. So the back can lengthen. Good! This is just fantastic. The lengthening is happening now. And this is what the monkey does, especially in the chair work. So I liberate one hand and I see how free the body is when I get you up, carefully up, 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 up. Yes, very good. Very fantastic. You are now decisively taller. I would say 1 centimeter, 1.5 maybe. So this lengthening and widening happening at the same time. We expand, and with the expansion we get more balance. He's now not only standing taller, but he's standing more confident. You can move to the camera. There is a confidence coming from his appearance now. You might say that it's only a matter of a few millimeters, but it is highly noticeable. It has a definite effect. When we meet people, we notice this widening directly. And from there we read self-confidence, directionality, intention, willpower. And now, when this part is getting engaged, all the way up to the clavicle, down to the shoulder blades that are part of the arm, we will now see how that part is moving more. The first episode, you can go back to that, I think it was 1543. This part did not move. The movement started here. But now he understands more and more that the arm is much bigger. We're speaking of almost 1.5 kilo more down here. The shoulder blades are not part of the back, they are just arm. Whereas the torso needs to have its own definition. I imagine also the left arm. Yeah, it moves also, but there is a distinct difference. It's not as, but it's coming there too. And let's see on the back side, yes. There is now movement in the shoulder blades. So when there is expansion, the shoulder blades are getting engaged. When there is fixation, they get closer to each other. So these are the shoulder blades. And when they get closer to each other, the arms cannot get engaged. They cannot participate in the action. You can move to the chair again. A very nice widening here now. What we do is we narrow mentally, psychologically and bodily at the same time. There is no distinction. And there is a narrowing of awareness. Especially, this is interesting, somebody who's pointing this out is Ian McGilchrist. This is just a metaphor, it's not a practice. But once the interesting text comes in front of the eyes of a person, he loses his awareness. The awareness becomes punctual, left hemisphere, birdseed awareness, point-like. This is I usually depict as a round dot or a point. This is representation. Something, for instance, a bird flying high above uses to zoom into something that cannot be visible, the birdseed. And we lose out on the expanded awareness above you, and then you don't expand into that. I think it's not too hard to understand the connection between expansion and getting into the surrounding area, because you expand to the space that's around you. If you don't feel that space, you will narrow. So it's the same thing. So narrowing of the space and narrowing of the body happens simultaneously. So to complement this, you can add an awareness of your environment. And just for fun, since this is going to be the last in a very long time, and I don't want them to come back all collapsed, we will just briefly try the monkey once more. It's even softer now. It's nicely balanced. Have a little smile here. And you think about the drop slowly going down over the ridge of your nose. That will help the direction up with the head. It's the unlocking mechanism that makes the head go up. Yes, wow! I think this is the most up I ever made. It was like almost the head jumped 3 millimeters. This is absolutely fantastic. Can you flex your knees? Continue to think widening and lengthening, and I will bend you a little bit here. Yes, the whole body is following. Fantastic. This is absolutely fantastic. The hand. That hand too. Now we have expansion happening. He's taking more space. He's filling out the space. So don't think about the surrounding area above, behind, on the sides as horror vacui or negative space. Think about it as something to live in, to expand into, to direct into. Yes, continue your vertical, very nice lengthening, and the horizontal. Yes, very good, very good, very good. That is just fantastic. So you understand this joint here now. You know where the skull begins, and especially where it ends. And in the beginning you thought it ended here somewhere, I think. Somewhere there. That's fantastic. And I will see if we can go up. Flex your, yes, up, up, up. Widen, keep widening, yes, very good. Lengthening in both directions, getting out of the hips. Now you're standing really tall, and I think that is visible in the camera as well. Let's see, I move the camera a bit there. There, it's just nice expansion after only 5-6 minutes in the monkey. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Carlo, for participating. Good luck. Bring this. If you can do the monkey a couple of minutes a day, it will be worth it. And you also who are watching, do recommend this. It's downloadable from Ted Dimon sites. I think it costs $25. That will be 25 euros for your European viewers. Bye bye for now.